Hello, everybody. Welcome to the monthly forecasting forum. We're in eclipse season, in the midst of everything, right? So how many of you are feeling the eclipses already? Are any of you here who've already been feeling this like whoosh of like, whoo, like just stuff in your body or emotionally or, in your psyche or in your mental capacities feels a little bit uncertain and a little bit uneasy, and possibly something's moving around. You don't quite know what it is yet, but something's moving. Yeah. Okay. Deb has been feeling it. In April too. Yeah. Okay. I've certainly been feeling it for sure. So for those of us, of course, who have, personal planets that are connected to the eclipse will feel the movement of the eclipse much stronger, of course, right? But all of us are feeling the energies on some level. So how many of you are not feeling anything? Or how many of you are sort of like, well, I don't know, nothing going on for me, no eclipse, can't tell. Anybody here who feels that way? And if you're watching this as a recording, feel free to participate, even though I can't hear you, just for yourself to answer where you're at right now, currently, right? All right, well, it looks like nobody who's currently on the webinar is not feeling it. So all of us are feeling it, I guess, on some level, right? So first of all, before we dive into the eclipses, I just want to say thank you so much for your time, for your resources, for being here with me, for taking 2 hours out of your day, or an hour and a half, or hour 45, depending on how long it will be today, to just investigate, how you can move with the energies as they are right now. So thank you so much for being a part of this. And normally at the beginning of each webinar, I say a little bit about myself. I'm going to keep that very brief today because we want to cover a lot of stuff. I just want to say that I'm originally from Austria, from Vienna, and I've lived in the United States for over 20 years. And I have studied astrology since the early 90s and have become a professional astrologer sort of around 2005 when I did my certification, but then more seriously in 2010. So for the last 7 years, it's been a very serious pursuit of mine to do this on a daily basis. And some of you have been with me for that long. So for those of you who've known me since that time, thank you for being a part of my my network and my community for that long. Really appreciate it. All right, so today, obviously, we're covering the eclipses, and one of the eclipses has already happened last week, or a couple of days ago, and was in Leo, and this was a very powerful full moon, supermoon, blue moon, all the moons that you can imagine. It was all of it, right? So, I'd be very surprised if there's anybody out there who's not feeling that, since it's been a very strong lunation. And, being a full moon, which, a lunar eclipse is a full moon, right? A full moon always brings up emotional issues. It brings up stuff that has been, not visible before. We're creating a certain amount of awareness as we're moving through this lunar eclipse phase, right? And this awareness is certainly coming up in big waves and big ways, right? And we talk a little bit more about it, as we keep going. But first I want to say, we'll also have another eclipse coming up on February 15th in almost 2 weeks from now. And that eclipse is going to be a solar eclipse in Aquarius. And, the difference between a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse is that a lunar eclipse really operates on a very relational, relational issues, like relationship issues, how we interact with other people in our lives, how we integrate oppositions, how we integrate polarities in our lives. And how we relate to those polarities ourselves, what do we feel more comfortable with? What do we feel less comfortable with, within a polarity, right? So lunar eclipses bring out a great deal of that, but because it's connected to the moon nodes, it's also connected to our soul's evolution, to our soul's journey. And so therefore, we're really being pushed, or not pushed, but like we're being invited to really elevate our game, you know, to elevate what we came here to do on a soul level, collectively and individually. You know, and in particular, you know, if you have stuff in your chart that's connected to those moon nodes, or that's connected to those eclipse points, then even more so, you know, you're really quite being challenged right now, or you're being very politely invited to just step up your game a little bit and get more on course with, you know, what your soul evolution is all about. And so we really, eclipse season, you know, is really a time where we need to trust. We need to trust that we are being, that we're being carried into a higher elevation, you know, through the energies that are coming in, through the upgrades that are being made currently within our various bodies, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual bodies, right? So we're on all levels, we're really kind of like upgrading of some, making an upgrade of some sort. And we're all doing it, but for those of us who are having connecting planets to those points that are being triggered with this eclipse, there is the upgrade feels maybe more intense. The upgrade feels maybe more present, you know, it feels more important, right? For those of us who have planets there. So, but the difference between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse is, again, lunar eclipse relational, solar eclipse is much more connected to our own individual movement with something. It has to do with where are we going next? You know, what's our next chapter? You know, what are we intending for the next evolutionary phase, right? And this solar eclipse that's coming up on February 15th, that eclipse is the first solar eclipse in Aquarius since, you know, the last set of eclipses 19 years ago that we've experienced. Because even though the eclipses have been in Leo Aquarius since last year, February 2017, there has not been a solar eclipse in Aquarius yet, because the last solar eclipse last year was still in Pisces. So that means that we're really, with that solar eclipse in Aquarius, there, it's in a way, that's like a new beginning of some sort. So wherever we have that in our chart, that really signifies, even though we've been feeling it already, you know, this movement with the lunar eclipses and then also with the solar eclipse in Leo last August, we've been feeling sort of like a pull in that direction. But that solar eclipse in Aquarius, wherever that's taking place in your chart, and we'll talk about that, you know, in a little bit more detail, that eclipse, that house placement, that area of your life, that is really where something new needs to be looked at in terms of how we're moving with the energy. And of course, it's a south node eclipse, which means that something has to be released or something has to be redefined in that area of our lives. We have to really take a new perspective and a new look at how we're moving with that energy, how we're moving with that area of our lives, right? So we'll get into more detail in a moment. I just wanted to say here, before we jump in, you know, we're definitely going to look to see where Leo and Aquarius shows up in our birth charts. You know, that's going to be important for the lunar eclipse placements. And then also the houses in our chart that are most activated by this eclipse cycle in general, because eclipses are always connected to the moon nodes. So wherever these moon nodes are currently traveling in our chart, that also shows where this eclipse cycle is taking us, right? So we're going to be talking about that. And I want to just encourage all of you, you know, as you're looking at your own chart, you know, it's very tempting when we look at our own charts to go to the worst case scenario stuff with aspects. It's also very tempting to get scared about things coming up because we don't know what it's going to be. But it's also very important to remember that we are, that all the chart is just a representation of what's already going on within ourselves. It's not something that's happening to us. It's happening within us. So we are already there. You know, this is not something that's just gonna boom, all of a sudden there's like disaster that strikes. You know, of course, you know, life can happen and things can happen in life, but internally we are ready for whatever is coming up. And so just knowing that, just look at your chart. When you look at aspects, look at it from that perspective rather than looking at it from like, oh my God, right? Whenever you have that oh my God thought, when you see something in your chart, just cut it and say, take 2. I am ready for this. I am ready for this to occur. I'm ready for this next step in my evolution. I'm ready for this energy to come in, and I know how to move with this. Because the truth is, you may not intellectually know how to move with it, but you know how to move with it because on a holistic level, spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, all of that together, you know how to move with it. It's just that the mind thinks that if it doesn't know something, then it's panic time, right? But that's not the truth, because as life happens, we get through it all. We deal with whatever shows up. When we're staying very present in the here and now, we usually are capable of great things, all of us. It's just that when we go so much into the future and we try to handle things in advance and figure stuff out in advance before it's even happened, that's when we get kind of caught in the trauma, in the drama of all of it, you know, because in our own mind it never sounds like it's going to be easy. You know, we don't look at our chart and go, oh yeah, this is going to be easy. I got this. You know, how many people really do that? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that it will be easy, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter whether it's going to be easy or difficult. You can handle it because you're ready, because internally it's already happening. You know, internally you're already there. Does that make sense, what I'm sharing here? I hope this is helpful. Okay. All right. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining the monthly forecasting forum. Remember about next month's forum. You know, if you want to join live, it's on March 2nd at 3 p.m. You can also get join via the recording, of course. And I also want you to take a look at the website and see what's a good fit for you in terms of, you know, joining me next time, you know, whatever works best for you, obviously. And I am looking forward to hearing from all of you. Hopefully all of you have something to tell me about, you know, how you're doing and how you're engaging with the new website and feedback. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. Okay? All right. Have a good one. And I will talk to you soon.